Hey folks, welcome back. So we're gonna do a another little walk around impressions video. It's not my first impression because I've done it. I'll spend a considerable amount of time in this, but these videos are seem to be fairly popular, and they are also drive a lot of discussion on the board to where the discussion I think improves everybody's um, expectation and understanding of the vehicle. So let's go back here. So while I spawn this in, at one point I had all of the Vanguards, and I melted up the Vanguard Sentinel, and not because two reasons. One is I'm not a fan of the blue, and then second, I just could not get the EMP to work reliably. Like I must have ran 30 or 40 missions in it, burned down the shields, tried to fire it, and I just couldn't get it to work. But yesterday I did the video on
Vehicle selected.
was it
Stand
Prowler,
by.
the alien Prowler,
Your vehicle has
and
been delivered to the following location.
a big talking point
Please visit us
was
again.
the
Goodbye.
orgs need to have a bunch of capacity. Orgs need to have a bunch of seats to drop people. And my argument is that there's no valid reason to have a ship that hauls more than 6 people, not including the gunner and the pilot, right? The pilot and the co-gunner, no, I'm not counting that. So it'd be a total of 8. But to have 15 seats or 20 seats in a in a ship, it's kind of like, well, if you need that many bodies to haul around, just get a second ship, or they can just lay down on the other 3 people can lay down on the floor. But to take away a bunch of them, this steel is the perfect example. I think that holds 22, 18, 20. I forget. It's a lot though. It's kind of a meme shit because at one point it held half the server. And all you need is some Giacomo pilot to run into something and kill half the server, right? So it very rapidly turns into a ship show. That's a running joke for you, those, because every time I listen to the Olisar, it says, we have a ship show, but I hear shit show every time I hear her say that in there. So this is the Vanguard Hoplite. I don't know why that's damaged right there. And I have come full circle on the Vanguards because initially I did not like these. I was like, I don't know what this jank is, but here I am 4 years into the game, and this is an older design. I actually have come to love these ships, and I think they recently got a hit point or a hull buff. And they came out. I think they came out in 2016. They were originally concept designed a long time ago, and I have played around with these different weapon configurations. I only have like 2 issues. Fidelity is incredible on these ships. Okay, maybe 2.53 issues. One is wheels. Like, where in Star Citizen the 325A, the 300 series has same issue. Where do we have a runway? We do not have a runway in Star Citizen. They force us to land in shoeboxes. Like when you're a Crusader or Houston, this little bitty shoebox opens up, and you have to. It's so bad that you have to go into F4 camera mode to try to zoom in and get the angle right, and then you have to pivot the camera around and look at the other side. It's almost impossible to fly, cockpit view and land the ships. So this pretending like we have runways, I call it the chicken leg. Like some of the aircrafts, like the 600i, they have a chicken leg that kind of comes down, and it has like a torsion suspension in it, and the 3 prongs. I mean, if we're just going to continue with this shoebox landing, then why do we have wheels? This doesn't exist. A runway doesn't exist in Star Citizen. So I think there's a disconnect between the design and what the game is. Like, what are we pretending to do and what the game is? Because it just drives me crazy. It's non-functional. It doesn't mean anything, but it drives me insane. This second thing about the Vanguards, and we're going to go all positives after we cover the 3 negatives, is this is a size 4 ballistic repeater, and functionally, from a design perspective, this fits. But if you take off the heart, like this is gimbaled, this is not gimbaled. And to try to use these, like where this is gimbaled and this is not, is a ship show. It's a ship show. So you have to keep this locked, and you can upgrade this or swap out the gimbal for a size 5. But then it's so out of proportion. It's so incredibly out of proportion. It doesn't fit. If it was real life and you were in atmosphere, the ship wouldn't fly, because it goes from the size 4 gun to the size 5 gun. The scaling doesn't, they need to scale down the size 5 gun proportions, because it's like a 45% scale upward. So it's just crazy the way that the scaling works. Like a 4 to a 3 makes sense, but a 4 to a 5, it's nutso. They need to scale down the 5 to where it's like 10% or 20% larger, so it doesn't look at us, because that doesn't look bad. This doesn't look bad, but when you put a 5 on there, I mean it's a ship show. It's a ship show. So you go down, we look at the overall fidelity, and this is one of those older designs, but it's like the first older design. See, it's got the area effect thing, so you have to, like, I feel like Michael Jackson holding down the F key, walking forwards and backwards to get the door to populate. But the fidelity on the interior of this is incredible. So you can kind of tell that there was a design language to where they started upgrading the interiors on some of these, and maybe because it's a Star, a Squadron 42 asset, and so it's kind of falls in that same realm or the same spectrum as the Gladius, to where they're updated and maintained. And so it's a little wonky getting that back gate, because you're holding down the F key and you're pressing forward and backwards. But I love how it's got double doors. So from a like, someone's going to raid your ship, they have to go through 2 sets of doors. And then if you look, but there's no panels. I wish they would add panels. And I know some folks don't like panels, but I find that it's a better experience. But if you look, you have doors that open up, and they show the modules, and like the screen is a nice touch. Let's go through here. And when you talk about DropShip, look, it does 6. And then it's got room. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can hold 10 weapons. And then you have 6 seats. And then you have a gunner and a driver. Like, this is the perfect synergy for a dropship. And not only that, but it's significantly beefier than the steel and pretty much every other. I think this is a size 2. Is it 3? Size 3. I'm gonna have to test this out. I'm pretty sure this is a size 3 panel, right? And then you have going here, and you have all the other fidelity of all the panels that open up. Probably something to come, right? All this nice. And you know what I like too is this color. This color, it reminds me of work. And I'm just going to leave it at that. It reminds me of work. And and if you know what that means, it'll give your mind, it just exploded. Okay. So, but this level of fidelity is incredible. Okay. So I also like that it's got a hidden 1 SCU cargo, and I have yet to put the cargo in there, but I can't wait for the data where you can buy ammo crates and then you could stuff additional ammo. I wish that every ship came with a guaranteed, I'm sorry, not 1 SCU cargo, but a guaranteed package slot. Like, that's a guaranteed package slot. I wish every ship had a shelf where you, a guaranteed like spot where you put the package, into its spot on the ship. Like there was just a feature set. You know, and later on it can either be for ammo refill, or it can be for package delivery. But this is for an older ship. The fidelity on this is incredible. So I just wanted to kind of do a brief little walk around. The flight characteristics are really good on this. Let's get into the cockpit. Look how this is like insulated padding. Let's go field of view too real quick. Okay. I'm gonna go F4 so we can do a quick little pan around, right? And it's got a turret, so if you want to do that multiplayer experience, all the Vanguards have nice turrets. And then now I'm not saying out of let's go I'll show you something. I really wish that the display is like all of this is really nicely has a high level of fidelity. Now here's one thing. My preferred loadout is this, right? Always run target up here, always run comms right here, always run where's it at? Right here. And I always run the power shield conversion right here. Nope, that's not it. Right here. I always run, this is my preferred default. And the reason being is, you know, when you're doing bounties and the guy's like, when you shoot him, he's like, and he like hijacks your target screen so you can't figure out what's going on because he's the comms is like, it's either broken or for what, but it won't give it back. It won't give it back. But if you put up a comms panel, it'll just use this, and you'll be able to have your target display persistent. And so I like to run this. And so the problem is, and this is on all ships, and this is my number one, like if I were to fix one thing easy to fix, so the power is on, engines are off.
Engines offline.
If I get out of the seat and press Y to get out of the seat, you would think, because I never left the ship and I never shut the power off, that my MFD array should be persistent. Okay, so let's see. It is not persistent, and that shit drives me nuts. But what is interesting is if, let's say I move this, right? We'll just make that jank. We'll make this jank just for the purpose of show and tell. Now when I've moved my power triangle. Oh shit. Look, even when I power it off, my power triangle persists. So how is it that the power triangle will persist but the MFDs won't persist? So what that tells me is the technology exists to keep persistence in the displays of the ships. They just haven't gotten around to making it right. As long as they sell you the asset, they don't give a shit, right? So it's a ship show. It's a ship show. But that just gives context to where the functionality exists, but they haven't curated it. They haven't, you know, polished it, or you know, if anybody who played the game extensively, you see, that's what I'm talking about. See how the comms hijacked my target screen. Now
I have been authorized to scan your vehicle
this
for
shit,
security purposes.
I cannot emphasize.
Halt your vehicle and stand by.
Now see how I do target, and how next time when he calls, it'll do this, and that's how you prevent that, because that it is extremely annoying. See now, I was able to keep my target up, and I don't lose the continuity of battle damage assessment. Okay, so I want to show you what I like about this ship. We're take off, and okay, you can actually stick this thing pretty hard. Watch. See, I mean, you can jab that thing on the ground, and it, out of all the ships, it's like the most resilient
Landing complete.
for sticking it hard. I'm actually super impressed. So what I really like about this is I mean, you obviously have a gear when your landing gear is up or down right there, but you also have another visual representation right there. Watch, I'll hit N. Watch this. Look how the wings pop out. Look at it, they go
Landing
in.
gear retracted.
Why are we not? Come on, my Toby.
Landing
See, it's
gear
down.
deployed.
This goes up. Like, look on the little target screen.
Landing gear retracted.
And I like how the wings go in and they
Landing
go
gear deployed.
and go up. For some reason, they're opposite. I don't know why. Right? And so I like how you get that visual representation, because there's a bunch of times let's see, my hatch is up. So if I double press Y, I've hotkeyed to where it opens up the bay. So if I hit landing gear in, okay, somebody just torpedoed into the space station. Okay. Okay, I thought, let me double press Y again, and then that will close all my containers and boxes. Okay. So when we talk about flight characteristics, out of all the larger ships, hands down, if you look at its SCU cruise speed, it's up there. Like, it's not out of all the Vanguards, it's a little bit slower. The Sentinel is the quickest of the four, but it's definitely quicker than some of the other ships. I like a combat speed, where it switches from the green to. I like it around 200, and I think the Sentinel gets you in that 200 range if I remember correctly. But we'll just show, like, it's got great flying characteristics, compared to a lot of other. It's superior in its flight characteristics, because I would say if you were to have a heavy fighter that you would compare it against, it would be the Inferno or the Ion, are the two ships that you would compare it against. But the beauty with the Vanguard series is not only do you have the Class 2 shields and the larger weapons, and like this one's got the I haven't messed with the missile loadout on this, but you have the 4 size 4s, 4K, so you have 8 size 2s. Okay, I can't remember. I think it holds 16 size 2s. And if you put size 1s, you can get 32 size 1s, which is a lot of damage. And then watch. What I like about this, though, is you can get out of your ship, and then I like how there's a door for the pilot, so if your ship gets boarded, you have that other layer of defense, or if you do taxi runs, you could pick somebody up and they don't have access to you, right? You're behind a door, so if you were to do like a delivery, pick some people up and take them somewhere, you have that level of isolation. And then, oh, you know what I just realized is this doesn't have the pop-outs. Another thing that I like about this vehicle is that it's got the 1500. A lot of vehicles that they're kind of going like the default lazy mode and just giving everything 2500, and so they've given the Vanguards 1500 on their internal capacity, and so that's so you can put a couple armor sets, but here's the beauty. Here's the beauty of this is I still have access to the space station. Is you can get out, like you can't do this in a I wish they would fix the I don't know why I can't drink anything. I don't know why I can't like grab something and drink it. I have to do this jank ass, like throw it on the ground and drink it. But you can't do this in an Inferno, right? Crusader Inferno or Ion, because you're stuck in the pilot seat. So if you need to, do anything, I like the extra versatility of being able to step out of the pilot seat. so I like these ships a lot, and initially I did not like the overall design, but man, it has really grown on me. That's one of those things when you play. Let's say you have 20 ships in your lineup, and you go to the kiosk or the terminal, and you find yourself picking the same ships over and over, and then after 6 months you realize you haven't flown ship A and ship B and ship C. Like, you fall into the same 5 ships every time, and the Vanguard absolutely falls into that. You fall into range. What I'm trying to say is they become your go-to kind of ships very rapidly, kind of like the same way that the Pisces, it's your go-to ship because it spawns fast and it's easy, and even though it doesn't have any armor, and it's like, I just need to get somewhere, I'm going to do the Pisces. These Vanguards fall in that same category. So I'm going to do another tier video on my recommendations, like my top 10 ships, and they may be completely abstract. Control and this Vanguard Hoplite,
Please proceed to assigned landing bay.
If you want to go with a troop transport, it is my preferred troop transport because I think it fits into the other roles far better than the Cutlass Steel or landing gear down. Let's get a good camera angle of this. And then I just, look at that. And I like to do the forced landing because it forces the server to communicate with the ship, with the player. So when you go to restock and refuel, it's almost guaranteed because sometimes that experience is jank. And so my only 3 negatives aren't really a hit on the ship. It's more of that the Star Citizen disconnect from the experience. Like, there are no runways in the game. Like, why do we have wheels? And that's not a gig on the ship. That's just like the idiocracy. The scaling from a size 4 to a size 5 gun is not. It's just completely out of control. It's just like the ship loses its immersion. It's so bad. But a size 5 gun though is so much more capable, so people do it, but it's a ship show. Okay. Power off, right? But that's going to conclude my video. So folks, just so you know, this video was done by a guy who went to go wash his hands and then grabbed the olive oil instead of the dishwashing soap, and then realized afterwards, I was like, what's wrong with this soap? And then realized afterwards that I sprayed olive oil all over my hands instead of dishwashing soap. So keep that in context. All right, folks, please like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.